Welcome, everyone. We are live on this beautiful Monday. It is a beautiful day. A little bit is still resting. It's cloudy, a little cool, but good. See yourself through your own eyes. What do I mean? Because everybody's got an opinion of who they think you should be, what they think you should be doing, what your career should be. Everybody, some people are more well-wishing than others. But at the end of the day, you must see yourself through your own eyes. Who do you say you are? And at first, you see, it's a little tricky because we've relied so much on the opinions of others for as long as we can remember. That's what you do. You go to your good friend, or you go to a parent, or just anybody you go to that you trust. That's what we've been taught to do. Bounce it off somebody, right? Just bounce that idea off of someone. But at the end of the day, it is just you. You understand? It is just you. Truly, it is. It is you who's got to look in the mirror. You who's got to sleep with the decisions that you've made. Now, some would say, but that's so daunting. That's so scary. And a lot of people say that's why they can't handle being deliberate in their lives, because the responsibility is too much. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, too much? No. You're in control. Look at what we do in our lives. All we are looking for is security and control. But when it's presented to us, we say, oh, that's too much. So you and I have to see ourselves in our own eyes. You must. We must. These decisions that we make, people say, oh, Angela, you're so serious all the time. I'm like, not really. I'm not really serious all the time, but what we do is we're so caught up in survival that we forget how beautiful life is. We genuinely forget how beautiful life is. And then I know my windows are usually open, and all I can hear are kids, and they're either screaming or they're laughing and giggling, and so what's the difference? Most children don't have any cares in the world. Others, well, they have a lot to think about because of their household and how they're growing up. But at the end of the day, what I want to drive home for us is that we must see ourselves in our own eyes. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And again, I know that sometimes that is daunting, because we always tend to hear, well, you got to be realistic. You got to be realistic. Oh, that phrase. Ooh. When imagining creates reality. Oh, you're being delusional. Well, that's never going to happen. See, and then because they say it with such conviction, because it is what they think, you end up believing it. They plant a seed, and then you begin to doubt and question your own self. When you doubt and question your own self, See what it does to you? It makes one double-minded. We don't want to be double-minded. Being wishy-washy, you're here, you're there. No, a singular focus. It is a thing that you want to accomplish it. It must require your singular focus. Why do you think they tell you don't use your phone when you're driving? That's what they tell you. That's what they tell us. But you got the GPS going. You got an audio room going. Why? We get into the car and we want something to do. I'm like, but you are doing something already, aren't you? You're driving. Isn't that something? Or am I missing something here? Singular focus. There's a reason singular focus is required. Singular focus keeps you on the path. That's what it does. If you look at it as a protective mechanism, that singular focus, you could look at it like that. The more you are singularly focused, the sooner you reach your destination. Because there's nothing to pull you to the left or to the right. You just go and you get there in record time. But the moment you say, oh, well, let me stop and see all the sights and let me dilly-dally and who's doing what and who's doing who, you make the journey longer. You and I know this, especially if we have a road trip. We want to stop at every lookout point. Well, of course you have to stop and stretch, right? But that's just driving. But a singular focus when you want to accomplish a task, that is key. Because that singular focus will help you to keep seeing yourself in your own eyes. You don't get pulled in any direction because of the opinions of others. You've got to remember that everyone is in a state at all times. We are always in a state. And whatever state someone is in is how they will speak to and with you and treat you. So if they're in a state of quote unquote failure and they've given up on themselves, how are they going to encourage you? How are they going to encourage you? How are they going to uplift you? You see, we tend to look outside so much, but again, don't beat yourself up for that. We've been conditioned to look outside, to think that our help comes from out there. No, it comes from within. I always turn to my imagination. The full sentence is, I always turn to my imagination to solve any problem. That's what it is. From the lecture last week. I forget which lecture, but I remember that phrase, that sentence. I always turn to my imagination to solve any problem. What does it mean? Do you remember what it means? It means I experience in imagination what I want to experience in reality. That's what it means. And some ask, but am I just pretending when I do that? No. Go back through your day. Go back through your week. And you will recognize that at some point in there, one of those things would have stood out to you that you said you wanted to do. And it moved you in such a way that you had to do it. You see what I'm saying? It's what we do naturally. We can't do it any other way. We do what we are moved to do. If you're not moved, then you just don't until you are moved. So seeing yourself in your own eyes is critical. You be the one. Well, I don't know if this is good for me. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should do that. Think about that question. Oh, I don't know if it's good for me. What is it that you want to do? You see, when you're asking yourself these questions, you assess your situation honestly. What do you want to do? What is it that you want to accomplish? And remember, Neville Goddard said, if you live by the golden rule, you would eliminate a lot of confusion. Meaning, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You don't want somebody to do it to you? And don't do it to somebody else. And, a lot of people have heard say, well, that's like telling the lion, well, don't eat me. The lion doesn't care. And I'm like, yeah, but he's a lion. He's a lion. He does what he's driven to do by the state that he's in. But you and I are not out there begging not to be eaten. That's not what we're doing. If you are in a particular state, a mental mood, a mental attitude, when you go out into the world, those situations are what you will encounter. So you are the determining factor. And it even goes right down to what you eat. You eat based on the mood that you're in. What do you feel like eating? What do you feel like eating? I don't know. If you hear the phrase, what do you feel like eating? We are driven by our moods. So what mood do you think you have to be in to see yourself as your best? It doesn't matter what your mother's opinion of you is. She could love you till the cows come home. And that's fine. But at the end of the day, it is you who's got to live with the decision that you've made. So this is why you get to take the time to make your decisions. One does not rush half-cocked off into something. We just don't do that. You take your time. Some would say, well, you write out your pros and cons. But what is it that you want to do? Don't get in there in your mind's eye. Oh, but I'm not qualified. Oh, I'm not. Oh, You drive yourself mad. Don't do that. Take your time. Take your time. This is why that scripture exists. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. What would I like to do? Yeah, maybe. So if I do that, what can I expect to happen over there if I do this particular thing? Well, the only way to know is to go in your mind and do it. Nikola Tesla was phenomenal at that. He only built what he knew would work. But how did he know it would work? Because he made it work in his mind's eye. He did everything he knew how to do in his mind's eye. He did not touch anything. He started in his mind's eye. His father was hard on him. Told him he was the least intelligent. Because everybody else in his family was, what? You think he was phenomenal. Man, you gotta start with his mother. Now there's an inventor. But yet, had he listened to his father, if he did not see himself in his own eyes or through his own eyes, we probably wouldn't have known him. What if my father was right? What if I am the idiot in the family? But he didn't listen to that voice, did he? No. He knew something about himself. He knew, I can do this. That's what he knew. So he did what he was good at. He invented things. And he was so good. Any kind of a kink or a bug that was in his design, he would work it out. Better work it out, right? He would work it out in his mind's eye. And then when he was done, he would flip the switch and watch it work. And when it worked the way he wanted it to work, then he built it. So from yours and mine standpoint, it looks like he never made a mistake. It's not that he never made a mistake. He was singularly focused on the task at hand, and he believed in himself. He believed that he was capable. And a funny thing happens when you believe that you're capable and you start seeing the evidence of your capabilities. Oh, you become more confident, more sure of yourself. This is the whole point. This is how you use the principles. You want courage, you want confidence. Well, then practice using the principles. Because when you start experiencing in imagination what you would experience in reality, and you start seeing it happen to you, you start seeing it unfold. Like I said, at first it's going to shock you. Wait, that was just a coincidence. There is no way I did that. You know how we are with our shock and awe. But then you get up and you say, you know what? Let me do it again. Let me see. Let me test it and see if it was just a coincidence. And it happens again. You do it again and it happens again. And you keep doing it. You have two choices: walk in disbelief or walk with the acceptance of you know what you're doing. And that's why I say you practice every day. You practice every single day because you don't want to wait until something big, quote unquote, happens. Why not? Because then look at your state when something big is happening. We fret, we worry, we doubt, we freak out, don't we? Well, I don't know. That's how most people end up coming to know the principles in the first place, because they desperately want something. They desperately require something. That's how most people come to the principles. They don't come because, oh, look, I can live my life deliberately. Nope. Humanity is somewhat reactionary. You know this as well as I do. Hmm? Humanity is reactionary. We move when we are inspired to do so. So what's inspiring you? That's why when you practice the principles, and I was reminiscing actually this morning as I was giving little bits of water. Um, I was reminiscing, and I was saying to myself, but look at how I used the principles way back in the day before I even knew them. You realize you can only live deliberately? I want you to ponder that. You and I can only live deliberately. How so? How can you only live deliberately even if you don't know the principles? That is the design. When you want something or you want to do something, that is you being deliberate because you made a choice to say, I want to do this. You deliberately chose it. And I know I've always said we do things unwittingly. We don't know that we're using the principles. You might not know that you're using the principles, but you can't not live by them. And how do I know? Because, like, seriously, I sat there as I was feeding him and talking to him, giving him his water, and I was like, it was just in my mind. You do live deliberately on a daily basis. And I was like, well, how? I didn't know the law. It was like I knew I wanted a home birth, but I didn't know the law. I just knew everybody said, uh, that's crazy. What if something happens to the baby? What if something happens to you? I was like 911. But I knew because my grandmother was my inspiration. She had 8, and they were all home births. Yeah, but what about the pain? Yeah, but I heard everything, but nobody could move me because my grandfather always did say, you're determined, aren't you? When my grandmother would say, no, she's stubborn. She's not determined. She's stubborn. But I did it. I delivered that child 15 years ago at home. No drugs, no nothing. Just a pair of midwives and my doula. That was it. And my 2 sisters were there. That was it. Because I knew what I wanted to do. I did not know the law, but I knew what I wanted to do. I was deliberate. So, where in your life, because people talk about it all the time, yeah, well, I didn't know the law. My life was better. I'm like, no, not that your life was better. It's that you were sure of what you chose. That's the difference. You were sure of what you chose to do. And what is being sure? Deliberate. But then when you start to learn the principles and you understand that there's no magic, sometimes people feel discouraged when they think, oh, I used to think the world was magical. No, it's not magical. It's deliberate. Let there be light was no accident or coincidence. That's the first lesson in being deliberate. To be sure of what it is that you want to experience. Let there be light. That's the first lesson in being deliberate. So it doesn't matter if you are a pro at using the law or not. We use it. But what it does to be deliberate, it only gives you yourself to turn to. It only gives you yourself to turn to. The law is infallible. It's also infatigable. There's a word. You can't tire it out. You can't wear it out. Infatigable. There's fatigue, right? In the middle of the word. Meaning you can't make it tired. You can't wear out the law. You can't overwork it. No. You cannot exhaust the law. You see? So when it comes time to using it, there's a level of confidence, and it's again described in scripture. The faith, the grain of a the size of a mustard seed. You could have the smallest amount of faith, but the point is that you have it. It doesn't matter how big or how small your faith is, exercise it. Use your level of faith. If you can use the law for quote unquote small things, a pizza, a cup of coffee, a phone call, whatever it is. See, we think things and we categorize and we put them into sizes. But the only thing that matters is, do you want that? That's the only thing that gives it any validity. Do you want it? Not how big it is or how small it is or how useful it could be. The question is, do you want it? If you want it, well, then that's what makes it valuable. You know, I've always heard, like in some places in Africa, they could be outside and just come across a diamond in their backyard, just like any other rock. Somebody said that to me years ago. Oh, it's just like any other rock. But along comes the European and says, no, that is worth a fortune. See, they're just outside kicking it like it's just whatever it is. They haven't really put any value on it. But somebody else came along and put value on it, and now it's worth something. So at the end of the day, what you have to recognize is it is you who determines the value of what you want to experience. This is why you've got to live your life through your eyes. How you see yourself. And I'll admit, I'm not always the first to see my own value, you know. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not. How come? Well, as we all know, somewhere along the line in my beautiful childhood, I heard something. Oh, you're no good. Oh, you'll never be anybody. Which one of us has not? You could find the child who grew up in the greatest childhood, in the greatest of childhoods, yet they will still have something. And you're like, yeah, but look at how you grew up. Perception. I cannot perceive on your behalf. You have to have your own perception about yourself. You must see it for yourself. And when you see it, you want magic in your life? See yourself. Really see yourself. Oh my God, I'm so short. Oh my God, my butt's so big. Oh my God. That's not what I mean by see yourself. That's not what I mean by seeing yourself. That would be judging yourself. Seeing yourself. Because you know that question we always get, what do you bring into the table? See, that's the question. But really, what are they asking? How do you see yourself? How do you value yourself? It's what they're really asking you. You understand? So this is why I tell you, don't rush this part. Take your time. See yourself. The true self. Because remember, people will talk to you from the state of mind that they're in. So if they get up one morning and they feel like crap, you'll know. Because every idea you've got, they'll shoot it down. Oh, that's no good. That's exactly what they'll be like. Not because you don't have any skills or talents, but because they're in a foul mood. So this is why you guard your heart. You guard your desires. Because everyone is in their own mental state, mental mood, mental attitude. And they may not have any ill will towards you, but because they're in a foul mood, what they say to you, when it comes out of their mouth, listen, you'll know the depth of what someone is going through when they speak to you. If what they say to you is hurtful to you, if it stings you, well, they are in pain. As within, so without. They're in pain. Hmm? That's what I'm trying to convey to you today. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So the only way for you, this is why we feel. So this is why the caution is, don't go to somebody to make you feel better. Do not go to someone to make you feel better. That's an inside job. But what if I can't make myself feel better? Assume a virtue if you have it not. William Shakespeare. Assume a virtue if you have it not. You feel sad today? You want happiness? Well, then assume happiness. And a funny thing will begin to happen. When you go out into the world, you'll come across every court jester there is. There's always going to be somebody who's going to make you laugh somewhere, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the laughter. That's what it means. You turn towards your imagination. And you will start turning towards your imagination. So much so that you will realize you are your imagination. Oh, where do you keep turning? To yourself. So this is why it's important. And I know, yeah, but that seems so lonely. What do you don't have any friends? That's not what it is. If you listen to people, they say, you gotta have that person in your life, who lifts you up, who supports you, who makes you feel good, who's your number one fan. And if they die, then where does that leave you? So where should it come from? Your own self. We're always going to have friends. We're always going to go out for brunch or tea. That's natural. We're going to have friends. But what you don't do is put your being into the hands of another. You can't. That's an inside job. It really, truly is. That's why when you see yourself through your own eyes, you see what you're capable of. People will just confirm to you what you already believe to be true about yourself. As within, so without. So the types of friendships you make, that depends on you. So whether or not you're happy in whatever situation you're in, it is you. So again, you don't be hard on yourself. You observe what you're seeing. And when you observe it, you don't judge it. Oh my God, I should know better. Maybe my mother was right. Maybe my father was right. God, you guys must think I got problems. No, it's just we turn and we look outside for our help. Remember, if 1,000 people are required to make your dream a reality, then each one of them will come and play their role in your life. Just like if you are required to play the role in someone's life, you will be compelled to do it all the same. But to get the ball rolling, that's you. And it is you when you say, what would it be like if I were secure? What would that feel like to me? If I could just get up and go anywhere, or, you know, I was secure in my health, I was secure in my finances, I was secure in my whatever I'm secure in. What would that be like for me? So whose eyes would you be seeing it through? Your own. That's where you begin. But you've got to accept the new. You got to accept that new thing that we're doing, that you're turning towards self. You have to accept that. That when you turn towards the self, you're going in the right direction. You have to accept that. You have everything to gain when you accept it. Because sometimes it looks like you're losing things. Sometimes it looks like you have to give something up. You got to make a sacrifice. But truthfully, what are you sacrificing? You're sacrificing your doubts. You're sacrificing your insecurities. Those are worthy sacrifices. Why? So that you can have what? Confidence, peace of mind. You've got to accept, because when you accept the new, you relinquish the old. It is easier to accept. Why is it easier to accept? Because it feels better. You want to be around what feels better. Nobody wants to be out there. Oh my God. Nobody wants that. So accept the thing that feels better. What would it be like if my life were like this? That is far easier to accept than I'm so stuck right now. But we do accept the stuck, don't we? Only because we've conditioned ourselves to be stuck by the entertaining of the thoughts. But every time you catch yourself in that state of feeling stuck, you've got to talk yourself out of it. You go back to all of the evidence that you've ever had to prove to yourself that you're not stuck. And do you know what you're doing when you go back and you look at all of the times that you've succeeded? Do you know what you do? You repolarize yourself towards what? Your success, your solution. Because that's what you're looking at. And you begin to build the intensity of it. That's why. How many times do I forgive them? 70 times 7. So if it's 70 times 7, you got to pull yourself mentally out of the muck and the mire. Then you don't stop. You keep at it. Because there will come a time where you stay out of it. But it just feels like it is fighting in the beginning. Only in the beginning does it feel like it's fighting against you. Because remember the field that you're walking through. There's a footpath already dug down. So of course that's going to be the path of least resistance. That's going to be the easier part. Right? So this is why you're going to resist the tall grass and making a new pathway, only because the old pathway is familiar. That's all. Every time you feel yourself struggle to do the new thing, remember, it only feels like a struggle because the old way is familiar to me. That's why it feels like a struggle. But if you keep doing the new way, it will become the old. And it will become familiar to you. Right? This is just what I'm trying to show you today, so that when you hear persist, you know what persistence means. Persistence means keep doing the new thing that you want to experience in your life. Keep doing the new. And what is the new thing? Turning towards your imagination to solve any problem or to be deliberate. So if you say, oh my God, I got so much to do today, get into your mind's eye and see yourself at the end of the day having said, oh, what a relief, all that's done. Whew. Didn't think I could do it, but it's done, boy. I did it. And begin to feel the relief of it. Just you just got to spend 5 or 10 minutes feeling the relief of it, and then get up and you will encounter an idea naturally. That's what you'll do. Truly. But what do we tend to do? Throw mud at the wall to see what sticks. That's what we do. We try this, we try that, we try this, we try that, we try this, blah, blah, blah. We're trying everything. And then by the time you're done trying everything, you're exhausted. And then what do you do out of sheer exhaustion? Turn towards the imagination. Start there first. Preserve your energy. Start within the imagination first. Always turn there first. I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that to me. And because I'm saying it out loud to me, you get to hear it. My stomach is growling. Child, you better hush. I trust that it makes sense for you today to see yourself through your own eyes. You must see yourself. When you begin to see yourself without judgment, you think anybody can stop you? No. No one. Because you are the determining factor. You are the determining factor, my friends. Whether you want to believe it or not, you are the determining factor. Indeed, Miss Fawn, indeed. Be still and know that I am. Neville says, put a little simple word in there. Be still and know that I am is God. Wait, that's what he said his name was. Oh. I am is God, he says. Well, amen. 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 That's a good point. Listen. You might be a little thirsty there, baby. But remember, see yourself. You must see yourself. And if you're seeing yourself and it's not what you want to be, if you're seeing yourself and you feel like you're not quite what you want to be, well then, what would it be like? What would your life be like if you were what you wanted to be? What would that be like? And begin to entertain that. And that's what you do, entertain that. And you will change your life. So let's get the bowl. Wait, before we get the bowl, we have to say hello to everybody. What? How rude. Yes, he did get louder, by the way. He probably has that foot braced against the wall so he could just get every ounce of that sound out. You hear? Hey, Hilarion, I see you here on Twitter. Miss Renee, I see you. And the others that have not made yourselves known in the chat. Ooh, he is on one today. I see you here on YouTube and Facebook. Fanbase. Afternoon Delight is in the house. Miss McQueen. Miss Fawn is here. Oracle Treehouse. KZ Flows Smiles. I see all y'all here today. And yes, welcome, little bit. Welcome in all your glorious splendor. Yes, that's my baby. Anywho, how will you see yourself today? And because he crowed right at that phrase, then that is my phrase for me to go into the day with. Be still and know that I am is God. For whom shall I say sent me? I am. That's the name of God. I am. When you pray, pray in my name. And everybody's talking about in the name of Jesus. No. What is the name that you pray in? I am. I am is a statement. I am is an affirmation. I am is prayer. So when you pray, pray in my name. Let the weak say what? I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich. Right? That's how you pray. I am. You are conditioning the self. You are molding and shaping yourself into what you say you are. What you say you want to be is how you mold and shape yourself. You got to see yourself through your own eyes. Or else you'll be contorting yourself to be what somebody else wants you to be. And at the end of the day, you'll complain and say, that's not who I want to be. But then we must find the courage. We must find the courage. Anyhow, let us get the bowl. And I trust it made sense for you today. Because I know it made sense for me. What was I doing? Because I like to have the topics before I come on here in the morning. So I had the topics since Saturday. I was just either cooking or baking, and the topics came themselves. And I was like, oh. Because that's what I said to myself. You got to see yourself through your own eyes, girl. can't see yourself the way other people want you to be, you'll be like Gumby for the rest of your days, trying to bend and mold and shape yourself to please somebody else. Why would you want to please somebody else? Oh, so they don't leave you? Ooh, let me tell you something. It got real quiet. When I admitted that, I was like, ooh, is that what's wrong? You always got to be honest with yourself, man. You must be honest with yourself because you can't fool yourself. How do you know you can't fool yourself? See, the thing that you truly believe, the thing that you are truly sure of is the thing you will do. So you could pretend all you want, but the thing that you are sure of is the thing you will do. So who you fooling? You ain't fooling nobody. So you may as well, right? You may as well just be honest with yourself. If you're having a bad day, you want to cuss somebody out, admit it and cuss them out. But when you're done, you're done. And you don't have to go back to it. But don't try and lie to yourself because that doesn't ever end well. It doesn't end well because you end up being the thing because that's what you say you are. You can listen. That's why you can't run, but you can't hide from yourself because wherever you are, wherever you are is where you are. See? Anyway, let me get the bowl for us this lovely, lovely Monday. Let me get the bowl. When you hear the bowl this morning, who are you? Who are you? That reminds me of the line from Wally. That's when Eva asked him, who are you? Who are you? And he showed her who he was. It was a little tiny garbage compactor. And that's what he did. And he popped it right out and he showed her that's who he was. So who are you? As you hear the bowl and possible bird song, of course he might just take its break right now. Who are you? If you don't know who you are, who do you want to be? Begin to see that. And begin to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality if you were who you said you wanted to be. Let's get the bowl. Let's get the bowl. I trust it plays this morning because I was fiddling around with the stuff. But right on cue, bird song. Right on cue. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2. Thank you all for being here on such a beautiful, beautiful day. I need to give a shout out to a few people today. A shout out to a few people who are my manifestations. Because I needed something back in the day. And I knew what I saw in my mind's eye. And I just let it be. And the first shout out is to Sugar Visions, aka Flow Smiles. And she helps me so much on a daily basis with my social media platforms. If my stomach doesn't stop growling, Lord have mercy, this is embarrassing. And Flow Smiles helps me every day with my social media platforms. Every day. And there's a level of sanity that I can regain. And so I want to say thank you for that, Flow Smiles, because you are dedicated and truly, I don't know what I'd be doing right now if if you weren't doing what you were doing. And what I always wanted was somebody who just loved doing it. And sure enough, she does. Because for me, I'm just like, oh, man, like it's just not, you know what I mean? Not my cup of tea, but she genuinely loves it and it shows in her work every day, all day, you know? So thank you, Flow Smiles, Sugar Visions. And the other person I have to say, whew, she worked me yesterday. Huh, she sure did. Delight. Afternoon delight. I needed help yesterday with, just getting your thoughts in a particular way to see how things do this with what people want. And I don't know where she pulls this stuff from, but she is gifted when it comes to doing what she does and say, okay, this is, and she lays it out. And all I did was follow right along. And do you know, I accomplished my task yesterday. I sure did. And I just want to say I appreciate, Delight, how organized you are. Truly, truly organized to help me stay organized. And those are the two people that I want to say thank you to today. This shout out today is for you guys because it's important to have a team, and it's what's cool about the community we've formed here. There's so many people I can shout out who show up for me every single day and who believe in what we do here. So many of you. But the day is coming, right? For me to shout you guys out too. But don't get it twisted. I appreciate each and every one of you who comes on a daily basis. I genuinely do. But for today, Flow Smiles and Delight. You guys are such a strong foundation. I've never had a team before. I've never had a team before. And so I just want to say I appreciate all of the work that you do and the support that you give.
And you guys see this vision. You really, really do. And you believe in it, right? So I just want to say I appreciate both of you. Truly, I do. So thank you very much for being here every single day and for all of your input. Like, sometimes words just don't cut it, you know? But I just trust that you feel my heart today. Yeah. So thank you. Totally, totally, totally. Queen Mo is in the house. So yes, thank you for that. All right, y'alls. I'm coming fan base. We always close together. So hold tight. So YouTube and Facebook and Twitter tonight. I do not remember the name of the lecture, eh? But it is already up. So it'll be tonight at 10:45 p.m. And I don't remember the name of it, or I would tell you. But I know there was one of them that I went through, and I just read the first paragraph, and I said, "Ooh, we got to read this one." But I went through and I picked them just based on their titles alone. Yeah, just based on their titles. That's how I chose the lectures for this week, just based on their titles. And I am looking forward to tonight's lecture because I just am. Truly. So I'll see you guys tonight at 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes? If you're available, you want to fall asleep with us. I try not to get too excited when I read so that we can fall asleep. Yes? All right, y'all. Peace.